get started here. And let me just share my screen with you guys. You should all be able to see the Lone Star College Online Brainfuse Help Now page. And this is what this looks like for a student once they've clicked on the link on their LMS. I believe for you guys it's Blackboard. So anyway, yeah, let's get started. This is your Brainfuse Help Now main page. And as you can see, once a student logs in at the very top, oh, it's D2L, excuse me. Thank you for clarifying that. Anyway, once a student clicks on the link for Brainfuse, they'll be brought right here. And as you can see at the very top, our two main expert help categories are available to them immediately, and that would be our live help and our writing lab services. And as I go through this demonstration, I'm also going to point out some of the account features that students have. So I'll just kind of show you here. When a student's logged in, their name will appear just underneath the logout button that you can see on the top right there. By hovering over it, you'll see these features pop up for them to use. I'll go over how each of these relates to different features that Brainfuse offers. So for instance, how live help is connected to my past sessions and so on. But to begin with, we'll just start by entering a live help session to show you guys what that looks like. So if a student wants to get live help, all they need to do is simply go over here and select the topic and subject they'd like to receive tutoring in. If they are using our whiteboard by default uses HTML5, but if for whatever reason their computer has difficulty running that, or if they just prefer to use Java, they can click this checkbox here to access the Java whiteboard. And also, if a student would like to receive tutoring from a tutor who speaks Spanish, they can click on this checkbox here. And also to point out, we have this new button down here called Tutoring Schedule. So if a student wants to see what time live tutoring is available, they can select their topic and subject. In this case, I'm just going to choose Science and Organic Chemistry. And then they click on Tutoring Schedule, and they'll see the hours that tutoring is available. So in this case, you can see the hours for Organic Chemistry. And yeah, so if a student wants to get live help, they simply click on Connect. In this case, I'm going to choose a topic that's actually available right now. So we're just going to choose writing for the sake of this. And yeah, when a student's ready, they simply click Connect. And then from there, they'll be brought into a live session. It'll take a minute usually the first time, but from there, it's pretty instantaneous. So as you can see, this is what the whiteboard itself looks like. I connected with this tutor pretty much immediately. And from there, you can see on the right-hand side, this is where the tutor and student interact via instant messaging. So I'm just actually going to let this tutor know in particular this is a demo session, so there's no need for him to respond. So there you go. It's a kind of instantaneous messaging system on the right-hand side where the tutor and student can communicate with each other about whatever it is that the student would like to work on. And on the actual left-hand side is the whiteboard itself. So this is where the student and tutor can both draw, type, erase, paste text, and so on. I'll kind of show you how each of those goes. So there's the draw tool here. Simply drag and draw. There's also a fine erase tool that's similar. In addition to that, you can also undo any previous actions that were taken on the whiteboard by clicking on this button here. And you can also clear the whiteboard by pressing this X symbol down here. Now that just clears the content of the whiteboard itself. It doesn't actually clear the chat transcript whatsoever, so that remains. In addition to that, the tutor and student can type anywhere on the whiteboard as well. There's no limit to kind of wherever you want to begin, to continue, and move on from there. In addition to typing, you can also copy and paste text as well anywhere on the whiteboard, as you can see here. So I just kind of pasted here. This is good for a student who, let's say they want to work on sort of even just a placement of paragraphs in their paper, or if they just kind of want to mock up something on a visual level on a paper that they're working on. This is very useful because the student and tutor can both draw and underline things and highlight things, and actually can change the color of what they're working on to distinguish which one is the tutor and which one is the student. That can be done by clicking on the color wheel here, and this applies to text, images, drawing, and whatever you might need. In addition to that, we also have superscript and subscript available as well. We also have mathematical symbols as well. This is the paste tool, as I mentioned before. You can also change the font and style and size of text that you're working with as well. We also have a lot of different scientific symbols here too. In addition to that, we also have the ability to drag and drop lines if this is easier for the student to use somehow. In addition to that, and I'm just going to clear the whiteboard so you can see this better, we also have a plethora of different shapes that the students can use too. A lot of these for math problems, scientific problems, but a good example here would be the number graph. So when you click on the number graph option, there's also a number line option as well, as you can see just to the left of it. The number graph, though, you can actually change the minimum, maximum, and interval mode of the graph before placing it, and you can simply just drag and drop it, as you can see here. So this is very good for students working on graphing problems, but don't want to, just send a document over to the tutor for both of them to talk over it. They can actually visually see it here, and it's a much easier sort of process for them in this case. So in any event, in addition to that, if a student just wants to share a document with a tutor, they can click on this paperclip symbol here. This is an attachment symbol, and by clicking on it, you can see that the student can upload a file directly from their computer or from our feature known as the Cloud Pack, and I'll actually demonstrate that shortly after this, but that's essentially our take on a cloud storage system for students who use Brainfuse. And this could be better for a student who just prefers to kind of work in the chat area and talk over a problem that they're working on or homework they're working on, whatever it might be. And that about covers the extent of the whiteboard, except for the ability to place emojis if you'd like. But that about covers the extent of the whiteboard and how it works and how it looks for a student working with a tutor. And whenever they're done with the session, they can simply click on this link here to quit and then choose OK. At the end of the session, they'll be brought here to the session survey page. Here they can let us know if there were any technical issues with the session or if they had suggestions for us. They can also just kind of answer these questions here about the Brainfuse tutor, if they found the service helpful, and leave any comments they'd like to. And then when they're done, they can click on submit. But I wanted to actually point to you at the top of this page here, you'll see there are two links. There's this email and play link. Email lets the student email a copy of the chat transcript to anybody they'd like with a valid email address. So if they'd like to send the transcript to a professor just to kind of validate what they worked on with the tutor, to confirm it, that it's correct information even, they can send it to anybody they'd like. Or if they just want to send it to themselves for a reference later, that's fine as well. In addition to that, they can also play a replay of the session that occurred. So it actually shows the chat transcript at the bottom here, as you can see, in real time. And in addition to the chat area, it shows the actions that were taken on the whiteboard as well. So as you can see, whenever I drew or erased or what have you, each step was recorded and played back in sequence. So they can review that if they'd like before sending in the survey to us, or if they'd just like to take a look in any event. And then, yeah, whenever the student's done, they just simply click submit. And then after that's over, they can click here to go back to the home page. Again, the email and play links are both at the top here in case they ever wanted to just, check it out again. And once you're back on this page, I'd actually like to point out again the account features. So whenever you've had a live tutoring session of any kind over the course of your Brainfuse time, you're able to view any of those by hovering over your name and clicking on My Past Sessions. It'll actually take a recording, so even if you were a student at Lone Star up to 4 years ago and were using Brainfuse at the very beginning of it, you can even check out the sessions from all the way back then. None of them are deleted at any point, so you can always check those out. And so they're saved here for if you'd like to just kind of replay them to look over past work you've done. And in addition to that, as I'll demonstrate later, there actually is a way for you to convert these videos into a shareable link, which you can send to professors, to colleagues, whomever you'd like. In addition to the My Past Sessions feature, I mentioned before in the live session that a student could attach a file from their computer or from the Cloud Pack. The Cloud Pack can be accessed in the account features at the bottom here at My Cloud Pack. So this is our take on a cloud storage system. This is especially useful for a student who uses Brainfuse across multiple devices. So let's say they're working on one particular paper over the course of a month, and they use Brainfuse in school, at home, and on a mobile device. This is especially good if they want to be able to continue to access that same paper across those devices without having to have USB storage or another cloud storage system. They can just keep it right in their Brainfuse account. So this is great for that kind of student especially. And in addition to live tutoring, you can also upload papers to the writing lab from the Cloud Pack as well. And speaking of, actually, before I move on to that, I want to point out that under the academic tools, you'll see just below here, you'll see the option for the language lab. This is another live help area, except instead of the topics and subjects that are covered up here, it's explicitly for languages. So if a student wanted live assistance in a language, they can click on the language lab here. And any sessions they have there can be are saved under My Past Sessions as well. It's almost exactly the same thing as Live Help. It's just in a different location. Okay, though, moving on, as I said, to the writing lab, this is where a student can submit a paper to our writing tutors and then receive a reply within 24 hours with assistance from that tutor. So if a student wants to do this, they just simply, once they're logged in, click on Submit Paper here. And from here, again, they can upload their document from their computer or from the Cloud Pack. Any of these file types is totally acceptable. If they have any comments they'd like to add, for instance, if they'd like the tutor to focus on the grammar and the grammar of the paper as opposed to kind of an overview, they can do that here. If the professor had specific instructions for the paper, they can also include that here. If they want to clarify that, even if it's a short story, they can clarify that here as well. And then whenever they're done with that, they simply click on Submit. And within 24 hours, that will be returned to them, which you'll find here actually in the account features again is where you'll see the review returned in addition to the paper submitted. And that can be found under the My Message Center here. Actually, I'm just going to log out and in again because this sometimes happens. So 1 second. Here we go. As you can see, whenever a student submits a paper, it's saved under the My Message Center, and the review, when it's returned, is found underneath their submission. And the student can access it here from any time. And in addition to that, it just like the My Past Sessions, it saves as far back as your tenure with Brainfuse goes. And just to show you guys what a writing lab review would look like, I've brought up a sample here. So this is what a review looks like almost precisely. So the provider response form that we provide is included at the top. And here it breaks down the paper in its constituent parts. So there is an overview just describing how the paper itself fared, whether it was, acceptable, what kind of, structure needs to be addressed, and so on. And then it's broken down into these different parts as we move along. So there's the main idea and thesis, introduction and conclusion, there's style, and so on, and including development, organization. And these are all broken down so that the student can get an idea of each of these parts of writing and see where they kind of fared the best and where they might need more work. And a little bit further down, I just want to point out, we actually have an area for grammar, usage, and mechanics, which includes a Brainfuse grammar guide, which a student can click on at any time to review things like commonly confused words, possessive forms, different things that they might just kind of have basic difficulties with. They can click on this and take a look at it. And in addition, there's also a part for formatting, which also includes style guides for APA, MLA, and Chicago style, depending on what they might need. And if the paper in question, according to the tutor, required work in the formatting, they can always reference any of these guides in addition to looking at the tutor's assistance. And in addition to all of this, underneath the provider response form, the text of the student's paper itself is included with in-text comments by the tutor. And I just want to point out, as you can see here, the tutor never directly edits the student's paper whatsoever, because that wouldn't be tutoring. That would just be editing and doing the work for them. Instead, the tutor points out where the student made errors or where they could be stronger with something. And in different colored text, typically, they elaborate on it by where the errors occurred or by where the strengthening needs to happen. So as you can see, this is kind of what a typical review of a student's paper would look like. And again, that can be found under the My Message Center. Similar to the writing lab, if you notice under live help here, you see this option under the tutoring schedule. It says, don't want a live session, send a question. That's our send question center. It works very similarly to the writing lab. So if a student has a question they'd like to ask, or let's say they're working on a homework assignment and they're having a particular problem, but they just don't want to enter a live session, they can do something similar to the writing lab in that here, when you click on the link for the Send Question Center, you can select the topic and subject you're working on, enter the question, and to clarify, it's the same topics and subjects available under live help. The student can ask a question, and they can even upload a document. So if they're working on an assignment and they have that particular question, they can include the assignment for the tutor to look at. And then from there, they click on Submit Question, and again, in 24 hours, it's returned to their My Message Center. And so that about covers the kind of expert help areas of Brainfuse. Underneath, we also have our academic tools and our collaboration tools. Under the academic tools, one of the most useful for students is the skill server. So this is our online content library. And here we've broken down different areas of student interest that they might find kind of useful. So there's a college area. There's also a graduate school entrance test prep, including career prep and job resources, and different things like that that they might find useful. So under these different areas, you'll see that we have different categories broken down. So in this case, we have English and Math for college. And I'll just go ahead and click on pre-calc just for sake of example. And under this topic header, you've got practice tests, video lessons, text lessons, and a lot of different things that a student can kind of just work on their own pace at. And these practice tests can be taken at any time. Just click on them, start the test, and go on. Oh, and I've already taken this test actually, which I will be pointing out to you in a moment. You can actually retake the test from an area of the account features here called My Tests. I was going to demonstrate that in a moment, but I wanted to just point out, if you notice at the header here, pre-calculus, the Get Live Help button is kind of put here at every turn where there's a subject available for the student to study. So that way, if the student ever needs assistance, it's only one click away. They don't have to go back to the home page to do it. If they're stuck on anything, they can go right into a live help session in this topic. So in this case, pre-calc. Okay, so just to demonstrate, whenever a student takes a test, they can always look over the results of that test by hovering over here, going into the My Tests area, and you'll see it shows you the score, it shows you the date taken, the name of the test, and also offers you the option to retake it. So I couldn't do it, I couldn't start the test in the skill server because I already took it, but the student can retake it at any time if they want to try and try for a better score after they've gotten tutoring or they feel like they're getting stronger in the subject. In addition, under the academic tools, we also have a couple of features here for students. One is called Flashbulb. This is where students are able to create and share different like fun studying games and flashcards by creating stacks of information and then uploading it. They can review it for themselves if they'd like, simply by once they're in Flashbulb, they can go to this link to create their own flashcards if they'd like, or they can go into My Flashbulbs alternately to do that. And there's also other user-made and vetted content here available to them under these different topics. So if you've got a student who's kind of more of a visual learner, or if they just have an easier time studying with study cards, they can go under each of these topics and look through to see if they can find something useful for them. Or if they find it easier, again, they can just make it for themselves. So this is kind of for that kind of student, and it's easy and available and just really simple to use. And also, we have the e-parachute option here. So I don't know if anybody here is familiar with the book, What Color is Your Parachute? But this is actually a service brought by the son of the man who wrote that book, whose name escapes me at the moment, actually. So if a student would like and is kind of more interested at this point in, so they're at the end of their kind of college career and they're more interested in going into their future job, but they're not certain exactly what kind of career would best suit them. They can go into eParachute, and from the beginning, it kind of asks you questions to build a profile based on different things that you enjoy, skills that you're good at, different fields you're interested in, and by answering each of these questions, eParachute builds a profile and then provides different career-specific links for you that might interest you based on how you fared in the kind of diagnosis. So From there, yeah, it's a matter of clicking on the links that interest you or kind of exploring those different career opportunities at that point. So this is for a student who's a little more career oriented if they're interested in kind of pursuing that. And yeah, so that covers the academic tools area. And last but not least, we have the collaboration tools. So we have the Meet virtual study room and the Brainwave. So with Meet, actually, this is especially useful for a student who, it is in fact a virtual study room that is a whiteboard session. And so to begin it, the student simply clicks on Meet here, and they can invite participants at the top. So I just want to actually clarify, the Meet whiteboard is not explicitly for Brainfuse users. A Brainfuse user does need to initiate a Meet session, but they can invite anybody they'd like with a valid email address. So if a student is really struggling in a particular class, but they can never manage to make a professor's office hours, this can be especially useful for them, especially if they have like a job, let's say, or they're taking care of a child. This could be very difficult for them to meet in person with the professor, but they can arrange for a study session via Meet here, and they simply just enter in the professor's email up here, and whoever else they'd like. It's actually not limited to how many people can join the session. They can invite as many people as they'd like, and unlimited number of people can join the session as well. From there, they pick the start time and start date, end time. They can describe the meeting here, and then click send. And if they'd like to edit this session at any time, let's say they just want to change the date, they can go to their account features to the My Calendar area, where it will show the session that they scheduled in question. It'll show you the people that you invited and any notes you made as well. Here you can edit the session if you'd like to change the time. You can add a session as well, and you can begin the session at the time that it's supposed to start. And last but not least, we have the Brainwave. So this is a area where a student is able to record video using a version of our whiteboard. So they'd simply click on Brainwave to begin, and then if they want to create one, they can click on either of these links to create the Brainwave. Here it'll give you the instructions on how to do it, and when you're ready, you just begin recording. And just to demonstrate, as you can see, it is in essence the whiteboard that you saw before. It's a little bit different though. There's no tutor connected with you. So it's essentially just going to record step by step each of the actions that you take. So if here in the message area you want to kind of list out instructions for what you're doing, let's say you're doing a step-by-step math problem, you can mention the instructions, record the steps you take here by typing out the equation, drawing kind of arrows, whatever it is you need to do, you can do it here. But actually to demonstrate, really what's really useful for a student is if they'd like to send a recording of a live session to a professor, let's say the chat transcript in the email link after the post-session survey didn't really provide a full picture of what they did in the session, they can go into My Past Sessions here and click on this link here to convert the past session into a Brainwave. And by doing so, you're able to, to do that, you just simply click on that link. You can title this live tutoring session, include the date, let's say, and you can share it with other Brainfuse users or anybody with a valid email address simply by clicking on send here. And that will send a shareable link to the recipients, and they'll be able to view what happened in the session, including on the whiteboard. So this is, again, especially useful for if they wanted to just show professors, parents, or whomever, even just themselves, what they did in a live session. Okay, so this about covers the student side of Brainfuse and how that works. Next up, I'm going to show you guys how the faculty dashboard works. So for you guys, it's essentially the same way to log in as a student. You would just go log into D2L, click on the link for Brainfuse, and you'll be brought into a page. I'm just going to log into this demo faculty dashboard account here. And then you're brought into this page, which looks almost precisely the same as the student whiteboard, except in this case, you'll see the link up here for faculty dashboard. And here you're able to assign students either to take a live tutoring session or to submit something to the writing lab. And it's very easy. So you simply click on this link here to begin. And here you'll see, this is the faculty dashboard homepage. It shows you the instructions on how to, assign a task to a student up here, and it also shows you all of the tasks that you've created down here as well, whether they've been completed or not. You can also delete these at any time as well. So to begin a new task, you simply scroll down to the bottom here, and then click on Create New Task Now. And here you can assign whatever kind of a tutoring assistance you'd like, if you'd like it to be a live tutoring session or a writing lab submission. So I'll just demonstrate what the live tutoring looks like. So you click on live tutoring. From here you would choose an assignment name. So we're just going to choose test here. And then from there you also choose the essentially the due date. So when the student needs to have logged in by. So in this case I'll just choose March 10th. And for the time, we'll just choose 9 a.m. Makes the most sense. And then from there, you also select the topic and subject you'd like the student to receive tutoring in. This is a demo account, so it's not showing the subjects that you guys have, but this would be any of the subjects and topics that Lone Star has available. Simply click on those. In this case, I'll just choose algebra. And then here you can include, so the student will receive an email with the description of the assignment. So here you can include the instructions you'd like. So if you want them to focus on a particular part of the course that they're working in, you can go ahead and do that here. And then underneath that, you can actually include any instructions or comments for the tutor that will be working with them. So if you'd like them to kind of, guide them along in a particular way, whatever it might be, you can do that here. And then when you're ready, you click on continue. And then from here, you can delete the task if you feel you made a mistake at this point. That option's kind of always there. And then when you're ready to include students, you click on Add here. And from here, you'll see that it's broken down by courses and by students. So you can select the course that you'd like to choose from, and then select all of the students that are in that course that you'd like to assign tutoring to. Again, in this case, this is not a true course, so this is just a demo example. But you can just simply click on as many students as you'd like, and then click on Done. And then when that's completed, that's pretty much it. You can find it back on the main faculty dashboard page. You can also add students if you feel like you missed one. You can also copy this task and assign it to a different course, or you can delete the task as well at any time. And then click this to go back to the home page. And I'll show that again so you guys can see how that would work for the writing lab. So by going through the same process, choosing to create a new task and then choose the writing lab, you can name the assignment, and then again you choose a due date for the student to complete it by. And I'll just name this demo for now. And then you can choose the kind of paper that you'd like the student to submit. So if it's an academic paper in this case, or even if it's a short story, you can click on one of these here and then choose continue. Here you can kind of go into more specifics about it. So if you're going to kind of specify the citation that they're going to be using, or if it's none at all, that's also fine. And you can also kind of select here where you'd like the tutor to focus their review. So if you'd like it to explicitly be a grammar review, you can click that here. Alternately, you can check as many as apply. If you don't choose any, it would just be a general academic review, or whatever kind of review it might be. If it's a short story, a narrative review then. And if you'd like to include any instructions, you can do so here. And from here, you can also include a document as well if you'd like. If there's instructions, let's say, or just a fact sheet that the student was working with to write the paper, you can include that here. And then here, you can include instructions you'd like to send the student. So when you'd like it turned in by, how to turn it in, whatever it might be. And then when you're ready, simply click on continue. Excuse me. And then from there, again, if you have anything else you'd like to include, you can do so here. And hang on one moment, let's see. Oh, there we go. That's probably why. Let's assign a due date. Don't need to choose a file, that'll be fine. Or I think I do actually have to choose a file. In any event, it actually works the same way as the live help area. So once you moved on to the next page, you're able to, in fact, I'll just kind of choose a file just to demonstrate this. I think I have something called demo here. Let's see. There we go. So we'll continue. Oh, the due date emptied again. Excuse me. Right, there we go. So as you can see, it's the same as the live help area when you wanted to add students. So simply click on add here, choose your course, choose your student, and then click on done. Okay, yeah, so that about covers the Brainfuse demonstration today. If you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. If I'm unable to, I will run the questions along to my supervisor and then send them to Tracy and Carrie once the recording is complete. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
I'm good. I think you did a great job.
Oh,
I
thank you,
don't have
Carrie.
anything. I don't have anything to ask.
Okay, great. I noticed Renee had a question here. Excuse me, I have something in my throat. You said, can I show again where this is accessible from D2L? I'm not certain about that because that's your LMS. So I believe usually it's found under the courses, if I'm not mistaken. Although you can ask Tracy if anything. She'll be able to answer that question for you. You can do so by email. Email Tracy and she'll be able to help. Or alternately, you can visit the tutoring center as well. VTAC, excuse me. Let's see. Renee, I noticed you also mentioned, I noticed in the writing lab it says max of 10 submissions. What time period is that for? I'm not certain where that came from. Is that from the faculty dashboard that you saw that? Actually, to clarify, the faculty dashboard demo I was showing you isn't actually Lone Star's faculty dashboard. That can only be accessed by logging into D2L as a faculty member and clicking on the link for Brainfuse. So what I demonstrated was just a demo. So it's not the same settings as what you guys have. So there likely is no limit to the number of submissions that you guys can make for students. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Um, and if anything, and you guys just want to reach out to me at any point, you can feel free to do so. And my email address, I'll just type it out for you here, is canderson@brainfuse.com. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to help. Um, in the meantime, I'll send Tracy and Carrie the recording of this webinar. And yeah, I hope you guys had a great time. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate your thanks. Yeah, please feel free to contact me if you need anything. And yeah, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, no problem. Thank you, Renee. Yeah, okay. Feel free to reach out to me if you guys need anything at any time. And yeah, thank you. Have a good one. Thanks. Take care.